What's up, guys? This is Aldin, the president of BHX Logistics, here to answer some of the most frequently asked questions that new drivers who are applying to join BHX have. This will be rapid style, so let's get into it. Question number one, does BHX Logistics offer local, regional, or over-the-road routes? We do not have any local or regional opportunities. The only type of work that we have available is true over-the-road driving. Our drivers are typically on the road for 2 weeks or more at a time, and most of our drivers go all over US and Canada. So if you're interested in joining BHX Logistics, that's the only type of work that we have available at this time. What type of vehicle do I need to drive for BHX Logistics? We only work with high roof cargo vans such as a Mercedes Sprinter, Freightliner Sprinter, Ford Transit, or Ram ProMaster. We don't work with the low roof cargo vans. We don't work with box trucks, straight trucks, SUVs, or anything else. Number three, can BHX Logistics provide or help me acquire a vehicle? We do not have any programs right now to help our drivers purchase or rent vehicles, nor do we have any company vehicles. So if you are interested in joining BHX Logistics, you'd have to either have your own vehicle or you'd have to find a fleet owner who has a vehicle that he wants you to drive or she wants you to drive. What can I expect to earn weekly with BHX Logistics? Well, the weekly earnings vary. Every week is different. However, our top earning drivers earn as much as $3,000 per week on average. When I say average, that means that some weeks are going to be 5 or 6,000, and other weeks those same drivers may only make 1,000 or 1,500. Most of our fleet earns somewhere around 2,500 on average, and ultimately how much you earn is going to depend on how much you can drive, how flexible with your rates and your dispatch settings you are, how long you can stay on the road, whether you can go to Canada or not. For a more in-depth conversation, you'd want to speak with a recruiter, but ultimately it's going to be somewhere between 2 to 3,000 for most of our drivers as an average weekly earnings. How much of my earnings will I keep after expenses? This is something a lot of new drivers don't think about. So on average, about 30% of your gross earnings are going to go towards things like your fuel, your budgeted maintenance, your tolls, and other expenses that you're going to run into while on the road and while in this industry. Obviously, maintenance is not something you pay every week. However, it is something you need to budget away for. So when you calculate that, about 30% is going to go towards these things. How much does BHX Logistics pay per mile? Currently, the range is between 70 cents from low volume or slower areas, such as Florida, parts of Texas, mostly the whole west side of the US, up to about $1 per mile for busier areas such as the Midwest. The overall average is going to be somewhere around 85 cents per mile for USA loads, and Canada loads will typically pay about 20% more. So your Canada load range is going to be somewhere between 90 cents to about $1.20 per mile. Short loads pay more. So if we're talking about a 50-mile shipment, you can easily get anywhere between 150 and 250 or even more sometimes, depending on the situation and the area for that. Will I need to work exclusively with BHX Logistics or can I take loads from other companies too? So BHX Logistics does require exclusivity, meaning while you're active with us, you're unable to take loads from any other company. This is due to requirements that some of our high value customers have, where they require our drivers to have permanent vinyl decals on the van in order to pick up at their facilities. Do I need prior over-the-road experience to work with BHX Logistics? We do prefer 6 months or more of over-the-road driving experience. However, in some cases, we do make an exception to that. Mostly what we evaluate is your readiness, how much preparation you've done, how much you've looked into this type of work. If a person calls us with no experience and they know nothing about over-the-road driving, that person will likely not make it through our process. Is this role suitable for me if I have no over-the-road driving experience? So this is something that is very difficult to answer because it all depends on, again, how much you've prepared and how much you're aware of the sacrifices that this type of work does require. It's not just work, it's a lifestyle, being away from your family, friends, kids, spouse for 2, 3 weeks at a time. Um, Living in a cargo van, which is very limited in space and comfort, not having the amenities that you're used to, having to drive all night, sometimes having to deal with weather, and everything else. It's a very challenging lifestyle, and you just have to make sure you understand what it is that you're getting into before you dive in headfirst. Will BHX Logistics keep me constantly busy, or should I expect downtime between loads? This is going to heavily depend on where you're at and how flexible you are with your dispatch settings. Um, Ultimately, our aim is to keep you as busy as humanly possible, only giving you enough time to rest and any other time you may need in between loads or you may want in between loads. Our aim is when you are ready to roll and when you are rested and it's safe for you to drive to keep you rolling. However, waiting in this industry is very difficult to avoid because of how competitive this industry is. To summarize, there are certain areas where there may only be a handful of loads available all day, and there may be 20 or 30 vehicles competing for those loads. So, from busier areas such as the Midwest, Northeast, generally speaking, we can keep our drivers booked with minimal downtime, maybe only a couple of hours. And then from slower areas, so if you find yourself in Florida, Texas, part of the West Coast, that waiting time may extend beyond even a day, or in some cases, even beyond multiple days, like 2 days. Our dispatch team is going to be in constant communication. We're going to be constantly providing you with updates, but it is important to understand that waiting times will occur. You're going to have weeks where you may do 5 or 6 loads, and again, you only have enough time in between loads to get the rest you need. And then you're going to have other weeks where you may only do 2 loads and you may spend 3 or 4 days sitting at a truck stop waiting for us to find you loads. And those are maybe the most difficult weeks in this industry, but they are going to happen. And we like to be transparent with our drivers before they join, so there's no surprises later. Can I work with BHX Logistics part-time, or is full-time commitment required? Yeah, because we don't have any local work available, really this is a full-time commitment. You're going to be on the road for 2, 3 weeks at a time, and you're going to be getting expedited freight that you have to deliver more often than not straight through. So having the right mindset is definitely important. If you are looking for some sort of a part-time, then gig apps are going to be the best way for you to go. And if you just Google your city and local driving or gig apps, you should see a bunch of options pop up. Next up, how often will I be able to go home? As an independent contractor, you are free to go home anytime. You are free to turn on your van and drive home anytime. No one is going to stop you. You're free to stay home as long as you want to as well. However, drivers that try to get home on a very tight schedule and and don't have the flexibility to wait for us to book them on a load that goes home, more often than not, they end up finding out very quickly that it's not a sustainable way to live, right? So just because of how expensive fuel is, and just because how far from home you might be, generally speaking, like I said earlier, if you want to do well with us in this type of work, you have to be able to be on the road for about 2 weeks on average. That means that sometimes you might be gone for a week, and other times you might be gone for 2 or 3 weeks. Will I need to load or unload any cargo myself? I would say 99% of the time, this is no touch freight. Your job is to just secure the freight. There are exceptions to the rule where you may have to hand load or assist with hand loading or unloading. Those will always be compensated extra, and they always will be approved by BHX before you do any of it. What type of insurance do I need to work with BHX Logistics? So you need a 1 million commercial auto liability, and you need physical damage insurance. What insurance or liability coverage does BHX Logistics provide for drivers? So we offer cargo insurance. It's only $10 per week. And we offer occupational accident, which covers much of your medical bills in the event of a work-related injury, and also pays for disability until you're able to continue working if you're injured. And that costs $30. We deduct that from your weekly paychecks. Is Force Dispatch required at BHX Logistics? Absolutely not. We've built an amazing driver app that gives our drivers full control and over the type of loads that we dispatch them on. Our drivers can choose which loads, which areas they don't want to go to. They can choose which loads they want to bid on themselves, and they can choose which loads they want our dispatch team to bid on for them. So the beauty of this app is it really allows you to retain control, so you're never dispatched or booked on a load that you are not going to like. But at the same time, it makes it so you don't have to be glued to your phone. It enables you to hand some of that decision making to our dispatch team, and it is a controlled decision making, meaning that you are not giving up control over where you go. Instead, you're just simply telling us ahead of time what type of loads you want us to book you on, and we'll do our best to accommodate. Will I choose my loads or are they assigned to me? So as I just said, you are able to, via our app, decide if you want to bid on every single load yourself. You're able to choose if you want our dispatch team to bid on every single load, so you have zero involvement. You only focus on driving. Or you can do some sort of a hybrid where you choose which loads you want to bid on and review, and which loads you want us to bid on, which leads to the most optimal earnings, while again giving you the control over where you go, how much you make, how long you stay out, and all that good stuff. What kind of loads will I transport with BHX Logistics? Is general freight, auto parts, machine parts, plastics, metals, and things like that. All expedited freight. Are there specific regions or areas where I'd be more frequently? Not really. We operate throughout the whole USA and Canada just because of the amount of loads that are available in the Midwest and Ontario, Quebec, Northeast. That's where most of our drivers are kind of hovering around. However, it's like spilling a bag of marbles at the beginning of the week. Our drivers end up all over the place. So we always have drivers in the West Coast. We have drivers in Texas, Florida. But most of the work you do are going to be centered around that Midwest, Northeast, and Canada for those of you that are able to go up there. How does BHX Logistics handle downtime or waiting periods between loads? The best thing really is our dispatch team is very involved. We're going to be contacting you multiple times a day to provide you with general updates so you're not left in the dark. We're going to be advising you if we think that you should relocate to a better area. And you're never going to be left on your own. You're never going to be in a position where you're sitting and waiting and you have no idea what's going on. We do our best to keep our drivers informed. We understand the difficulties and the challenges of sitting and waiting for a load. So we try to be very respectful and helpful and supportive to drivers in those cases. What support can I expect from BHX Dispatch while I'm on the road? So we're 24/7. We are a company that heavily focuses on providing our drivers with optimal support, with proper customer support to our drivers. So we're always going to be aimed to be patient. We're always going to aim to be respectful, understanding, proactive, take ownership if there's an issue, be accountable to what we say we're going to do. And, I can really promise you that you're going to experience the best dispatch support while you're on the road and while you're waiting for us to book you sitting at a truck stop or your home. Are bonuses or incentives available for drivers? So we have some amazing driver rewards programs. We also do various contests for our drivers as well, where they have opportunities to win bonus points or win different prizes. We're always exploring new ways that we can give back to our drivers. We do driver recognitions, where we recognize our top earners, we recognize top safety drivers, top on-time performance, and many, many other categories. Does BHX Logistics reimburse for fuel or other travel expenses? No. So fuel, tolls, and any other travel expenses are 100% on the owner-operator, on you, and those are your expenses that we do not reimburse in any way. The only time that we would reimburse is if there's some sort of an issue on a load where you have some additional miles or some complication like that arises. Does BHX Logistics assist with maintenance and repair costs? Again, these are 100% your costs as an owner operator. If, we do make exceptions to this for drivers that are with us for a long time. We try to extend a helping hand if a driver needs a pay advance or things of that nature. Um, Will I need to visit BHX Logistics headquarters in St. Louis? Absolutely not. So with us, everything is online, everything is virtual. The orientation you do is virtual. The onboarding we do is virtual, and we mail you the logos. So you don't have to add empty miles to your van to drive to St. Louis just to pick up logos and meet with us. Are any specific documents or certifications required to drive for BHX Logistics? Nope. If you wish to go into Canada, you need a USA passport or a green card. But other than that, a clean driving record is all we look for, and you're able to become a driver with us. What's the process for joining BHX Logistics as a new driver? So the first part of the process is going to be to fill out the application, which you may or may not have done. You download our mobile app, you upload some documents, we send you the online orientation. You can go through that. That typically takes a couple of hours. You have a conversation with one of our recruiters to make sure that we are a good fit for you. Then we set up your drug test and background check. Again, all of that can be done in one day. We mail out our vinyl decals. You put the decals on and you're ready to roll. The whole process can take as little as 3 to 4 days for us to get you on the road from the moment you apply. Last but not least, how does BHX pay for accessorial charges? So we are very unique. I think one of the only companies that does this, actually. We pay our drivers accessorial charges whether our customer pays them or not. This is a fixed schedule. You'll get this information before you join. But for detention, we pay $50 an hour after the first 2 hours. Again, no matter how much our customer pays us, no matter if they pay us or not. For cancellation fees, for layovers, all of that stuff is on a fixed schedule. You know exactly what you're being paid. You don't have to fight anybody. You don't have to wrestle anybody for it. Okay, are you guys 24/7? Yes, we are 24/7 in every sense of the way. That means that if you send us a message in the middle of the day or night, we're going to answer. If you call us about a pickup number, about a breakdown, we're going to answer no matter what time you call. If you send us an email, but also we are bidding on loads 24/7. So if we fail to find you a load during daytime hours, our dispatch team and our system is continuing the bidding process through the night. And we get a handful of loads at night as well. So there's a chance that we're going to be able to book you even while you're sleeping. We're doing the work behind the scenes. Okay, the end. If all of this sounds good, this is 100% transparency. You know exactly what you're getting into. Apply now, shipbhx.com/drivers. Thank you. God bless. Stay safe and have a beautiful day.